Good evening, everyone. It is June 14th, 2022. This is Anahat Meditation Support Group class number 2 for June. We might keep doing this, or it might just go through June. We'll see, how it goes. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm going to do some brief introductions to what we're all about, and then I am happy to review the entire system in brief tonight, because a lot of you are working to become certified teachers in this, and maybe it'd be good for you to hear my most current thoughts, and then we can talk a little bit about tonight about the certification process and like why it's really so important and to me sacred. I was saying before we started, this is my life. It is my company is Anahat Education Group, right? I'll show you some slides in a moment. But Anahat is everything. And Anahat Monastery has been like the real heart of it. And when I say Anahat is everything, I mean it. I mean, Anahat is a word for source, right? So Anahat is literally everything. And this is the Anahat Meditation System, but it's based on a very specific way to meditate, unlike anything that I know of out there. I do feel it's revolutionary. And I would love to teach another spiritual path. Being a leader is, not always as fun. It's like it's easier to follow. Just, do this. So essentially, if you guys are kind of following along and saying, hey, I want to duplicate this, I want to teach this, I want you to teach this in your own way and be yourself. And this is only it's a set of teachings. I call it the Anahat teachings, but it is a system, a meditation system. And when you do that system regularly and build on it, like you do it for a year to 2 years before it really starts to do something inside of you, then you give it the rest of your life. Whether you keep practicing or not, it really won't matter as much, but you probably always come back to it like I do. I do yoga, I do Tai Chi, I have lots of other things I do, but the core of what I do is absolutely Anahat meditation. Yet I'm a Course in Miracles student and a Zen practitioner and a yogi. I mean, I take the best of everything, like the Mercedes motto of the best or nothing. Mozart said, I want the best in all that's good in everything, or something like that. So I've kind of lived by that motto. And I can tell you, I let go of what doesn't work. I let go of what doesn't serve me. I'm not going to teach something that's pointless to teach, not going to give it away for free. So part of my job is to build motivation, to encourage you to get on the cushion. And we did a lot of that last time. So let me do a little bit of PowerPoint, a little bit of screen share, and then we'll see where we go. And please interact with me and ask questions because I'm here for you. All right, which PowerPoint? I'm working on 4 projects right now, and some of them I'm not allowed to tell you about. All right, until they're revealed. So this one. Oh, this is the website. Let's start here. All right, so we're on the Anahat Meditation System website, onlinemonastery.com, and actually becoming anahatmonastery.com. I'm part of this announcement right now, which is going to be here forever on YouTube. This is the first announcement, I think, of actual Anahat Monastery. One of you is here, actually. I think it's Aradia, but I think Aradia knows. I was living in Colorado and a student of mine had bought 75 acres of land, and I literally started building a monastery. I was mapping out the grounds with sacred geometry. I had tape on the ground, like, ribbons and flags for where the chakras are and the tree of life, and like making a really sacred structure based on these geometrical principles. And I don't know, maybe it was training, but now I own 20 acres of land up here in the Adirondack Mountains, and I will show you. So right here in the top right, it says monastery grounds, and I'm very serious about this. So I have the land. This is the view. It overlooks Lake Champlain, where the Loch Ness Monster, or Champ, he's called here, or he and she, because it's got to be a family of them. I haven't seen one. I don't know if well, supposedly people see him. Anyway, it's a very mystical place where supposedly the Loch Ness Monster of America lives. That's the bridge you see over to Vermont. This is actually literally the view from the property. It is miles and acres of, you don't see any neighbors except for that little farm down there in the bottom left. You don't see a single person. It is absolutely quiet. The birds are always chirping here now in the summer. There's deer. I just took a picture of a deer. I said, because I couldn't remember if I could actually show that picture of a deer to you or not. So when I talk about Anahat meditation, to me, it's worthy of a monastery. I'm that serious about this, and it's not even a personal statement. Like Spirit is that serious about this to come through me. I'm just convinced of that now, especially because I'm on the land. So you could read about a little bit about the grounds. This is the drive up to that beautiful view. This is that nice little swing overlooking right between those two trees, which kind of are an 11. When I look out the window, I see an 11. Through there is plenty of land for this entire project. There's a nice little gazebo for socializing. There's a beautiful yoga deck I don't have a picture of, or the deck is in progress anyway, but the platform's there. Big place for outdoor yoga. This is just another nice view of the mist. This is actually facing the property from the Vermont side of the lake. And right up here, this isn't exactly it, but it's the other house that's up here. And the house that I live in is like right over here to the left, I believe. I just didn't quite capture right in this picture, but behind you is the setting sun, the rising sun coming up from the east. The house is perfectly aligned, the land to north, south, east, west. It is exactly what I was trying to build in Colorado, but now I see it manifesting here with precise sacred geometries. The house itself is creepy, the main structure here, about how aligned it is with all these principles. So I'm in awe, and I'm sharing this because, that's what you got to do. So this is, I'm calling it Anahat Monastery. There's plans for the buildings. I may have talked about this last week to some degree, but I don't think I showed you the pictures. And some of you might not have heard any of this yet. Sunset over the monastery from the lake view, that's a seagull. There's nothing like that when you have views like that and views like the grounds themselves. So it's meant to be a place to come for retreat, to get away from the world, residential, to be able to actually live here for periods of time. At like a monastic level of living, intense solitude and silence and meditation. But if you want a place to come and practice intense spiritual growth, then I am creating this right now on June 14th, 2022. No one's invited yet until I get some buildings up. But we have a very large team now who's working behind the scenes with me with ample resources and plans, the way to make this happen. It's just a question of time. Anyway, that's a little bit of announcement for Anahat Meditation itself. In case you guys don't know, click on that link, not the drop downs, those are bonus. Just click on Anahat Meditation, and here you'll find the lessons, and we'll look at lesson 1 today briefly, and then all the videos. To get started, just watch the introduction video, and then just keep moving through, and they'll tell you exactly what to do. If you can ask me about becoming a certified teacher, then you can jump all the way ahead to level 4 at the very bottom. There's a video. You don't have to jump ahead, but if you did, you could see down here, level 4 certified teacher training course. And I was still getting clear about how to do it, but generally it will tell you what's required or just start going through it. But even lesson 1, which we'll review today, talks about essentially the 2 major things you have to do besides practicing meditation. One is you fill out the chart that shows when you started and became proficient in a meditation. And 2 is you write an essay in each meditation. Say, all right, I get it, right? I understand what it is. This is what it's done for me, that type of thing. Under support groups here, we have Tuesday night classes for 2022 in June. And here is the support group 1 class. So if you guys missed last week, this is where you find it under support groups. We'll eventually migrate this website over to our main website. Everything's kind of synthesizing together. But for now, you could always find this through onlinemonastery.com. And it's my intention to keep it free. There's no need to charge for it. So we're not going to. All right, that's that. Let me take a moment to show you the PowerPoint for tonight. Just fill our head with some of this imagery. That's what I do all the time, is look at this stuff a lot. Because when we put our attention on, we become, we manifest, right? So Anahat Education Group, the Anahat chakra symbol in the very center, the lotus blossoming out of the center, light pouring out of that. The system gives you balance between ascending and descending. It gives you a harmony between, in this logo, you don't see the squared circle, but here in the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy logo, you'll see a squared circle, which represents spirit and matter, and also curved lines are usually considered feminine in sacred geometry, and straight lines are considered masculine. The ascending triangle is considered masculine usually, and the descending is feminine, but it's neither one nor the other. In the yin-yang symbol, or properly called the Tai Chi symbol, you see a little bit of black in the white, a little bit of white in the black, and how one becomes the other. So this isn't static. The energies of masculine, feminine, sun, moon, lunar, solar, what it means to be truly balanced and in harmony is embodied in these symbols. And the heart chakra itself, being on a hot chakra, is a space of love. So in our teamwork, as we grow this vision together with all the people involved with me now, we had a meeting the other day and there's a little bit of funky energy in the staff. And I'm like, guys, it's loving and harmonious or it's not happening. And man, we all shifted quickly. And they reminded me about the importance of gratitude. And I'm like, yes, that is a principle put into this company, gratitude and harmony. And now our whole team is practicing gratitude and harmony as we grow together. So when you integrate these principles into your life, it makes your life better. When you live based on universal laws and sacred geometrical principles, it makes your life better. When you meditate on Anahat meditation, your being becomes, because you already are this, your being becomes that balance, which your true nature already is, right? So the six-pointed star represents you. Anahat chakra is your heart, right? It's the love inside of you. It's the spirit that you are. It's the body that you're blessed, sort of, challenging to have bodies, right? But you know, it's like, what a blessed experience. Like, hey, I'm doing the human thing. This is fun, sort of, right? But it's challenging and there's lots of things happening. So that's the descending part of this, is we come down into our bodies. The ascending part of it is I teach you to leave your body. You don't have to be here all the time. You can literally fly in clouds with angels. You can go meet saints and sages out of your body. You can see realms of fairies. The monastery here, I won't give the exact name, is on Fairy Lake Road. I mean, what the hey? Fairy Lake Road. You know, I've been out of my body and I've seen fairies. There's deer and, you know, beautiful animals all over the place here. There is so much beauty available to us, even though what we see on the news and what's out there appears to be chaos, right? And it's tragic what's happening now. But there are people utilizing technology and every resource to make the world a better place. So to me, hypnotherapy is a huge part of that, especially our model, interpersonal hypnotherapy. We're an association, and here you see the sacred geometry coming through as well. I'm just encouraging you to embody more beauty, more goodness, more light, because somebody who's in a space of light or enlightened wants to give it away, but it, not even a but here, it is so precious, meaning you are so precious. I was working with a client today. I only see like 1 or 2 a week now, and we were doing eye movement work. And I heard myself saying, you are more precious than heaven and earth. This was an older gentleman who never hears anybody say that to him. And I was like, out of my mouth, honoring he's a child of God. You are more precious than heaven and earth. So there's healing occurring. There's enlightenment occurring. There's prosperity occurring. How could we not give that away? And to me, the spiritual heart of that mission is the Anahat Meditation System. Yet it all synthesizes, as our conference was all about, into something greater. So anyway, that's a brief overview. Also, it enters into the NLP work we do here through interpersonal NLP. Anyway, I'm not here to promote this stuff. I just wanted to infuse your mind with sacred geometrical principles being implemented in one's life that's based on a meditation system which happens right inside of you. Like you become these geometries, you become this alignment. I mean, look at the center of this, right? At the gold center there is the very center of your heart. And in the center of that is this symbol of the six-pointed star. So let me stop with that now. And are there any questions, anything anybody want to share? And please go ahead and put it in the chat pod. While I'm waiting for that, I will pull up a document. And be sure to keep the chat pod open, because I'm not here only to talk at you. But if you don't ask questions, I'll keep talking at you, at least just, you know, catch everybody up with everything I think is important. All right, so this is lesson 1. And yeah, somebody use the chat pod, please. You're seeing lesson 1 right now. Okay, thank you. So let's get that to scale. All right, so it starts with the welcome. I'm not doing the first entire welcome today. That took 2.5 hours, but this is the first lesson, lesson 1. I haven't had it all professionally edited. I can see that now, but it should be pretty clean anyway. I just have to get the teachings out there. When you look at this symbol, it's the Anahat chakra symbol, and you'll see the 12 meditations in each petal. Every meditation has a symbol, and it relates to where the energy moves in the body. Our first one is descending. So we could just look at this for a moment and talk about the 12. And let me say something very interesting. The idea of the 12 is significant in something that's growing, right? Christ had like 12 disciples, that whole thing. I talked about this at our conference, actually. I had 12 presenters around me. There happened to be 12 people here tonight. So, go figure. But Anahat very much has to do with this numerology of 6s and 12s, because you have a 6-pointed star and you have these 12 petals. So not surprising to see how this is unfolding. All right, so consider yourself early on in something that I feel is a mission that should outlive all of us. So yeah, truly blessed in my opinion. If I can humbly say that. All right, so the first position here, number 1, is descending. What happens is the energy comes down into our body and we learn to be human. We learn to sit. And before I forget, I'll go to the chair and show one of our students how to sit in a chair, right? Which seems silly, of course, but we all need to learn how to do the simplest things: eat, breathe, sit, just be a human being, right? Like really be human, mindful, present, aware. So meditation 1 is about descending, coming into our bodies to be fully present, fully human, and fully aware. If you get really into the mystical path, as I absolutely did, you'll be leaving your body. You will have transcendent cosmic conscious experiences. You'll have experiences where you do not want to come back to the human, right? Part of why I don't leave my body anymore, really, at least not in that same way that I used to. It's not that I feel bound to the body at all anymore, but the earlier projections were different than what it's like for me now, but now is better, right? So now is better, so not a problem. But back then, I was so ungrounded because I was leaving my body so much. I really was not a functional human being. And somebody who's very spiritual sometimes has trouble living in the world because they only want to stay in the meditative bliss. You become kind of like a trance junkie. Like if the bliss inside is so good, why would you want to go outside of yourself at all? Of Course in Miracles says all illness is a form of external searching. So a monastery is a place where you seclude yourself, you isolate yourself. I mean, there's community because we need people to live. But your devotion to God, to wholeness, to healing, to enlightenment, to the salvation of the world becomes a super high priority. Monks aren't just sitting there blissing out. They're working to save the world, right? The world needs bodhisattvas. So descending is where we start, but it's also kind of where we end, because you got to get into the marketplace with helping hands eventually, or what's the point of the sadhana, right? What's the point of the spiritual discipline? Meditation 1 will start to get you disciplined. It'll get you present and clear. The more you do it, the more mental clarity you'll have. You'll start feeling more integrated in your body, just more whole and confident and present. So let me go through this, then I'll go to the chair. As you go through meditation 2, and we're talking about level 1 now, yet essentially they're the same, but it's like an octave higher. When you get to level 2, you're just one rung up in the order of manifestation. You're not functioning so much in the physical plane. You're starting to learn to function on the etheric plane and up toward into the astral plane. Your consciousness literally will start to transfer to those levels, and those higher experiences can absolutely start to occur as you're getting to level 2. But essentially, level 1 and level 2 harmonize with each other. So the teachings are kind of the same, but also kind of not. All right, so number 2 on level 1 anyway is called heart-centered. And we are directing the attention into the heart chakra now, into Anahat chakra. We spend time every day, and when we're doing this meditation, maybe a month or 2, just practicing at the heart, meditate at the heart, meditate at the heart. There's specific teachings that go along with each stage, and this will start opening you to self-love, divine love, universal love, something bigger than just, oh, I love him or I love her. It's like, I love all of them. What do you mean I just love these 5 people on the planet? Like, what? I'm not wired that way. I don't get that. You're in my space of love, so I love you. What else is there? That's when it's holy. The other version is special relationship. So we're working to blossom our heart into the most beautiful ways that we can be. And the essence of that, of course, is love. If you study A Course in Miracles, you're just working to blossom your heart, your whole being, to where you're only living from love and service. And you're part of the solution, literally, of all of the chaos that we have in the world now. So you spend time doing that, which is a good thing, right? Then next, we start ascending. The ascending path is where we'll take time every day if you want. It's not like you have to always go linearly in order. You could do meditation 1, and that's all you did for the day. In the morning and the evening, you did meditation 1, even if you know the whole system. And then, hey, I got grounded. Awesome. But maybe you do meditation 1 and 2 for the day, and that's all. And now you got grounded and you're open to love. And that's good. And then more and more, you'll have then more and more in your life. I'm solid, I'm human, I'm successful. And my heart is open to love. Like, rock on. I don't have emotional blocks anymore in the system. The system gets free and clear. You don't have to have any negative childhood memories in you, no negative beliefs, no negative emotions, no guilt. That's what's happening here. But then as we go up to the higher regions, the higher chakras, ascending, now we start getting into the mystical experiences, to the merging into pure spirit, into the communion with absolute bliss consciousness. You're talking to God, not necessarily in English. And the higher levels, words can occupy the same space. So the word God and the word me are right in the same space. You can't do that with a mouth. But internally, when you say, I love you, like the I and the you occupy the same space. Words are linear. So in deep meditation, you'll go beyond language, beyond the English language. You won't have to be thinking English anymore. Spirit doesn't only speak that way. You want to learn to speak God's language, which is, of course, the language of love, like communion, devotion, your devotion to God, your devotion to others. But that's your own path, right? This is just a direct inner path to the spirit within you, where you're one with God now. And what you do with that is up to you. And maybe you're not saying Anahat meditation is my only path. Maybe you do spiritual devotional chanting, but you understand an Anahat speak. We're talking about the devotional love of your heart going up towards spirit, right? But this system gives you an inner map of what's going on inside of every human being, whether they know it or not. So there's tremendous value to this, even if it's not yours or a student's primary system. If they just do it, there is amazing benefit. And even once it's in fruition, where you're like, huh, this thing has done what it was meant to do, and I like the results, you'll still practice it because it's just healthy. Just like I learned how to eat healthy. It doesn't mean I stopped, right? I learned how to do yoga. I don't feel like yoga, I achieve anything spiritually anymore from it. Once you got it, you got it. But I do yoga to keep my body healthy. I stay flexible. I stay limber. I can sit meditation because of it. So there are sustaining practices, and Anahat meditation sustains you really well once you know it. If you ever get out of balance, you do the system, you come back to balance, but balance in a way that most people can't even conceive of. Not just like homeostasis or basic health. We're talking about self-actualization. We're talking about enlightenment, self-realization, like whatever the highest states are. Why would you want anything else? And I wouldn't talk about this system if it wasn't leading you to those highest states. Because, well, who would want to mislead anybody unless you're insane? So we're moving up towards this ascent up into spirit. Once we're really rooted there, we come back down again, which is so interesting, as I talk about this now in the present tense, because I didn't invent the system, right? I'm just the messenger. So the energy then comes down, but it doesn't go down to below your navel. Now it goes down into the sexual energy. So with this body, a male body, right, it's going down into the penis and the testicles. For a woman, it's going to go down into the vagina and clitoris region. But, everything down there, which we don't need to talk about all the details. But the energy goes down there. What's down there? I'm sorry to say, because it can be really challenging, especially if you're a monk. There's sexual energy down there. Like, we can't deny that. And many spiritual systems try to deny that, right? Like, look at these celibate monks who didn't know how to channel their sexual energy. What you can do, I'm not going to say much tonight, and I'm keeping everything brief, and my personal life is private, but I can tell you, oh my God, okay? A monk is not lacking anything once they learn what to do with that energy. Now, what does monk mean? It doesn't mean you're not sexual with another person. To me, monk, or whatever you might call yourself, words are so limiting, but to me, like a monk, a monastery level monk is dedicated only to God and the service of God and the service of others. Now, so maybe you're being sexual with your partner then. Well, be of service to your partner. Take the teachings into the world. The teachings of the highest teachings of love and goodness and grace will come down to your sexual energy in this model because you've tapped into spirit and now you bring it down to your sexual regions. Now that's advanced, and who's going to bother to do that? Why would you do that? That's where you just have to have trust and faith in the process that the ascending energy will go down to the first chakra and it will illuminate and awaken your Kundalini. The Kundalini then will go up the spine and you will have a supercharge of divine energy coursing through your Sushumna, your core central channel. It will liberate all blockages in your heart, and then meditation. So over time, right? Not over a month or two, but I'm speaking from now almost, I guess, 25 plus years of experience with this system. Meditation 5 is sexual energy circulation. We now start pulling that powerfully charged sexual energy up it's the back of the core central channel. It's the back of the microcosmic orbit, but simply stated, assuming you're a beginner who's interested in advanced teachings, we are taking the sexual energy up the spine and we're circulating it in the brain. Now think about how much power is in the sexual energy, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that, but sexual energy is no small thing. When you contain that and channel it back up your chakra system, you will know pleasure and bliss and an inner orgasmic feeling like most people can't even conceive of. I mean, imagine hours of sitting on a meditation cushion where your inner being is exquisite pleasure. Now, can you share that with others? If it was sacred and holy and appropriate and consensual, like, sure. There's a lot of teachings in the system later on in level 3 about ejaculation and conserving sexual energy and working with it, but very professional, very discreet, very appropriate. I can never emphasize that enough with high ethics and values in the whole Anahat education group model. So what we're doing is taking that energy, pulling it up to spirit, and we're sublimating it. All that sexual energy gets infused with love, and then that infuses into spirit once again. So it's kind of like a recycling effect. When you get to meditation 6, this is the essence of the teaching. It's a 6-pointed star. It's the first meditation that came to me, and it showed me there's a system here. And then it took about a year or two for me personally to have it unfold. So taking 2 years before somebody gets certified is really no big deal, knowing this can be with you for the rest of your life. And it is, because these geometries live inside of you. All right, so ascending and descending. In meditation 6, the energy goes up to the crown, down to the shoulders, down below the navel, not necessarily to the sexual energy, but it could if you wanted to bring it there. It kind of just depends on your focus, but just below your navel, not necessarily sexual. It comes back down to meditation 1 below the navel, and then it goes up to the kidneys. My background is Chinese medicine. I didn't become a Chinese medical doctor, but I went to 2 Chinese medical acupuncture colleges. So, essentially I'm there. I just don't practice, and I didn't bother to get a license. But I know Chinese medicine really well. And the meridian systems are really a big part of this model because they're part of who we are, right? We have these inner meridians. What you're feeling when the energy moves through these grids is the energy moving through your meridians, but these meridians of the sacred geometry here is not spoken of in Chinese medicine. I just knew about acupuncture meridians and chakras, but these geometries I had never read about before. And this was in 1996 when this stuff happened to me. So I didn't have the internet. I was living at Kripalu Yoga Ashram. I went up to the library and I found a book on Judaism, hoping to figure out what the 6-pointed star was all about. I couldn't just go to YouTube and Google Metatron's cube. that didn't exist for me at that time. Maybe some people had access to some internet then, but I didn't have a cell phone on the internet when this came to me. So I had to go to libraries for years trying to figure out what this was. You guys get the synopsis of it all, of literally a lifetime of study. It took me 11 years to write the Sacred Geometry Meditation book. Who would do that unless they had something valuable to offer? So meditation 6 is the core, it's the key. We breathe up to spirit. We descend spirit down into our being right here now. We ground and integrate that into a focus. Then all that energy nurtures the kidneys. The kidneys in Chinese medicine are the root of yin and yang in the body. They're like the fire underneath the pot that's cooking water, like boiling water, but the pot is the stomach and spleen and pancreas system. The kidneys are the root of yin and yang, male and female, or fire and water, fluids and energy in the body. The kidneys are the essence of that. When you get adrenal depletion, adrenally exhausted, right, your kidney chi and your kidney yin and yang energy, and there can be one or the other, but they're becoming deficient, right, through just living in excessive ejaculation. Like the more you are utilizing your life force energy in ways that aren't necessarily the most beneficial, I'll say it that way, you're not giving your body the nourishment it needs because you're kind of a leaking bucket. When you learn more about containing this energy through proper meditation, you can pull it up your spine and not have it going down and out. Or the energy can like disperse. So when it goes to the bottom and then pushes up, it's like a flower blossoming up into your kidneys. And all the sexual energy goes back up into the kidneys. The kidneys let the sexual energy down. And there's very complicated stuff in Chinese medicine, but the kidneys are the root of this is complicated, and I'm not 100% accurate in what I'm saying here just because it's too complicated to say in 3 sentences. But the kidney's essence is coming down into what's called Jing, or the energy of semen, if you will, like the stuff that's down there in the sexual energy region. When you breathe into it, but then don't let it leak out, but let it push back up into the kidneys, then you're re-nourishing your adrenal and kidney system. I could talk about that for hours alone. That's just one breath in this meditation system. But then you pull it back up to your head again. Now you're back up into spirit, and then it just keeps recirculating, recycling from spirit to the lungs and heart region. So now the lungs and heart hold our sadness and our grief. But when the energy flows down, it starts opening the heart, which is like the biggest problem that human beings have, the separation between head and heart. But this system lets you move from your head back down to your heart, and then it integrates it back below your navel, back into your humanness. You can't know what this is like until you're just doing it over and over and over again for hours. And eventually you won't have to do it for hours, but you can and you might want to, because it speeds up your final self-actualization, right? It's going to bring you into wholeness. And the more you do it, the faster you're going to get to wholeness. So meditation 6 is absolutely profound. Just it by itself, even though it's 4 simple breaths, if you just did that alone, it would start changing your life. But when you integrate it into the whole system, now you have a whole system that to me is worthy of like high levels of education and monastic levels of code to be sure it's duplicated properly. Meditation number 7 is called the star reversed. The energy flows up the ascending triangle and down the descending triangle. However, in this meditation, the energy that normally goes up to the head now comes down. It reverses its flow. And now there's like this showering of divine light into your body every single time you do that breath. Who in their right mind wouldn't want that? If you're not in your right mind, you wouldn't. But if you are in your right mind, you would want to have grace pouring down into your body all the time. That one breath represents the choice for that. This also deals with the microcosmic orbit, which is a major component of Chinese medical and Tai Chi practice. So I can go on and on about this one, but essentially what it's doing, like if you had to write an essay on it, which you do if you want to be certified, what is it doing when the energy goes from top down? Again, to me, it's like a blessing, but then it gets pulled down the central line to where I just don't want to talk. This is so much to say. What I'm asking you to do, I can't go through each of these breaths. There's too much information right now, but what I'm asking our certified teachers to do is to write an essay about what essentially each of the breaths are doing. Like, okay, I'm doing breath number 1 for descending. Well, what does it do for you? I'm doing breath number 2, heart-centered. What's it doing for you? 3. So I'm looking for a description literally of like what each breath does, because the system is that significant in its intricacy. So, 2 years to learn it is not unrealistic. The next meditations, 6, 7, 8, and 9, deal with the meridians of the arms and the meridians of the legs. There are 12 major meridians in the body. Again, there's a number 12. And you have 6 on one arm, 6 on the other arm, 6 on one leg, 6 on the other leg. A lot of the treatments in Chinese medicine involve treatments on the extremities, not actually on the torso. The torso is dangerous to put needles into. There's privacy issues. So if I want to treat the heart, I don't necessarily put a needle right in your chest. I can put a needle in your wrist and I can affect your heart. But that actually in Chinese medicine is considered very sacred. You seldom ever needle directly for the heart. You needle for the pericardium, which is the sac that surrounds the heart. Right? So the heart in Chinese medicine is considered very sacred, to the point where we don't even go near it directly sometimes with the modalities. You can, but it's just a teaching there about honoring Anahat chakra. Seriously. So we have ascending and descending energetics in this meditation that deal with the microcosmic orbit. So again, you're integrating advanced Tai Chi principles here, Chinese medical principles here, but also you're moving through the chakra system continually. So you're honoring all the yogic teachings essentially as you're doing that. When you get to meditation 10, this is called wings. And the energy comes up to the head and branches out and then back down to the bottom. It's forming a heart shape, not the shape of your physical heart, but the shape of that allegorical heart, I think is the way to say it. Or you could say the metaphorical heart, but literally it's a shape that looks like the Valentine shape, right? But what is it really? It's part of a tube torus, which you could Google and see the imagery of like a donut shape of the energy moving up and down the spine. It's going up and down. You're a tube, and this meditation gets that tube totally open so divine light can flow up and down the tube. When it comes up the tube, it branches out, it forms a halo over your head. I don't like to mention this about myself out of some level of humility, but I will say when I used to teach in person in classrooms sitting on the floor, students were always saying, there is light shining around your head, like you have a halo. Nobody should walk around saying they have a halo or something, but I'm only saying that for the sake of teaching that what happens is when the Shakti makes it to the crown, that's why they have pictures of saints and sages with light around their head, because the Kundalini made it to the higher chakras. Now you might see around some people where the Kundalini is in the head, where it made it up the spine to here. You might see an aura around them, but the better question is, what is it like inside of that? What's it like inside of you if this is filled with light? Like, just start to like NLP that, meaning model, what would that be like? In NLP, we say, if someone else can do it, so can you. But you have to kind of go, well, what are they doing internally? Empty, pure light, love, spirit, consciousness, wisdom. That's what's left when it's all clear. So you have a halo effect in this meditation, and then you have an arcing out of this heart shape, which in sacred geometry is called the geometry of compassion. So why would it be compassion? Because when your heart is open to love and it branches out into wings, now you realize you're actually an angel. So for me, this is where A Course in Miracles says, I'm amongst the ministers of God, or I am the light of the world, right? We all need to humbly, meaning honestly, claim that I am the light of the world. I am an angel incarnate with a mission. I have nothing else to do. My life has become so incredibly refined. This is essentially what I do. Like my dharma, my career, my mission. So the fact that you're listening now to me says there's something valuable in this, and there's something valuable in you. And that if you're here now and you're thinking, I might want to get certified in this, then really like immense gratitude and honoring that process. It's sacred. And to me, duplicating this system for those who are ready creates enlightened healers. That's what the world needs, right? So when your wings unfold, you can, watch your ego when you're doing this, but walk around feeling like you've got wings. And when you're out of your body, yes, you can fly. And I'm an advanced paragliding pilot, so I can tell you, yes, you can fly in clouds. When I was a kid, I was sitting in the back of the car and I said, Mommy, like up there in the clouds, people live up there. And my mom and her friend said, no, people don't live up there in the clouds. And now I tell my parents, no, people live in the clouds. And God does make fireworks. They told me God didn't make fireworks. I'm like, I think you're wrong about that one. So, children, we all know this deep inside because the truth is always still within us. Your soul is still your soul. You're still a child of God. Enlightenment is about recognizing who you are, knowing again who you are. It's about remembering who you are. So look at the word remember, becoming a member again. A member of what? Of a divine order, of a brotherhood, a sisterhood, the sonship. The Course of Miracles calls it the sonship, but these days, gender correct or honoring everyone, really, not trying to be correct, but really honoring everyone. The sonship means all of us, the child of God, which is all of us as a we. Once you're in meditation 9 as a we, then the love for everyone is so immense. And then you see what's happening on this planet. When I was a child, I saw baby seals being beaten for their fur. I was hysterical for days. This is more of who I am. I saw Christmas trees that weren't picked up after Christmas, living sentient beings that were dying unnecessarily. I was crying. And I'm like, 10 years old. So, watching people torturing frogs and like trying to save the frogs and going fishing and they're cutting the head off of the fish while it's still alive, filleting it while it's still alive. My little heart was freaking out. So if you're an angel on this planet, they are insane out there. So what do we need to help to resolve insanity? We need sane teachers of God who have a system that can heal and enlighten the world. And I believe Anahat meditation is part of that. It might not be your only path, but if you were to call yourself a certified Anahat meditation teacher, to me, it would mean you're aligned with the values that I'm sharing, which is really just the Bodhisattva vow. So meditation, I never count these when I'm doing them. Meditation 10 wings embraces compassion and love and angelic presence in a really significant way. Meditation 11 is called integration. It relates to the idea of synthesis, which we were using at our 2022 conference. You can always watch those videos. They're available now. We have to charge for that, but not expensive. And trust me, for the price we're asking now, go through those 3 days. Like the synthesis that'll occur in your mind by anchoring in synthesis. Whenever you say synthesis, your whole being will integrate to a higher octave, and you can do that all day long. Okay, so meditation 11 is about integration. It happens a lot at the heart because what's happening is the energy goes up and it goes down. That's all. At this stage, it just goes up this ascending triangle, down the descending triangle. But I started feeling something when I was doing that. It would like twist at the heart. It would kind of spin. And I can't really tell you why or what it does. It just seems to cross at the heart. If you look at Metatron's cube, which is here, you'll see that. The energy right here goes into that center and then does something else. What it does, I'm not going to say because at this level of it, it's just very hard to verbalize, but start to feel it. The energy goes down, the energy goes up. And the heart is the very center of that up and down, ascending and descending movement. So see the larger ascending triangle and the larger ascending and larger descending triangle. But then you see triangles within triangles. If you study the book by Michael Talbot, The Holographic Universe, this is holographic. The whole is in the part, and the part is in the whole. Rumi said, when you're enlightened, do not think that the drop alone becomes the ocean, for the ocean too becomes the drop. This is Metatron's cube we're looking at here, and it is the essence of ascending and descending. There's so much information in this one grid. I can literally talk for 100 hours about it. So the more you practice this, you are studying sacred geometry in your own body. And you can read books in sacred geometry. Read my book if you haven't yet, the Sacred Geometry Meditation and the Anahat Meditation System. If you're going to be certified in this, that's why I just laughed. If you're going to be certified in this, you must read those 2 books. That's a requirement. And I would suggest study them because it's my novel, the Anahat Meditation System, was formerly known as the Journals of Michael Devane, which fictitiously and interestingly enough, is written in the Adirondack Mountains, where Anahat Monastery is growing right now. That's crazy, but I hope someday you'll contemplate that when you read the book and then realize I'm actually building a monastery here, but I didn't live here. And now there's land here for the project. That's really amazing to watch. Okay, so there's something going on here. I feel like I'm a wacky part of that, just watching what's happening. But basically, I'm surrendering to the energy that's moving through me, and it appears to move in these grids with a certain wisdom, which is very significant. All right, let me just finish this. I'll go to the questions and then I'll go to the chair. All right, so here, in position 12, we have, so let me just summarize. Number 11, integration, ascending up, descending down, getting you into that place of wholeness. So where it's starting to integrate more in the heart. It's like encouraging you to let the samadhi, jumping ahead in teachings, but plant that seed. Let this samadhi start happening more at the heart, because samadhi often is a transcendent, sometimes even kind of like out of body experience. But that's great. Keep learning about that and keep doing that. Level 3 teaches you all about it. But the final place where your one-pointed divine consciousness ends up is right here in Anahat Chakra. So meditation 11 is significant, even though it's incredibly simple. Meditation 12 is called structure, and it's right at the pinnacle, right? It's like, it would seem like everything, but it is, but it's so mysterious because it goes into your skeletal structure. The energy all of a sudden just wants to infuse the bone marrow with like a glow. They call it yogic, or I think more accurately, Taoist bone breathing. I got into it a little bit in Tai Chi practice, where you're standing there in a certain position for a long period of time, and you're developing tons of chi and you're sweating and it's hard. You're standing like for an hour in this really challenging position, but you're taking all that chi and you're not moving. You're packing your bones with the chi, your whole body. I want to get some more videos of me doing movement. My body is unlike any other human body I've ever experienced. Having done Tai Chi and yoga and Anahat meditation for like 25, 30 years now, my body isn't a normal human body anymore. So what's happening with meditation 12 is the energy is like literally cooking inside of your bones. It's the system, you get warmer inside. Your chi is more contained inside, and it's an enormous amount of chi. It might not always look like it because it's contained and nobody would know. You look almost like anybody else. But there's something very different because your bone marrow, I don't know, I'm just saying what I understand about this, is being infused with chi. Now, what does that do in a sense? Well, imagine your bones glowing from the inside. The model is self-effulgence. Like, what is your bone marrow? Like, what is that? Well, bring your consciousness into it and ask yourself, what if I were bone marrow? What would I be doing? I would shine light and strength into the bones. And I would emanate light from the inside of the being. What are you telling those cells to do? They listen to you. Your cells listen to you. What are you telling your bone marrow to do? Meditation 12 essentially says, bone marrow, glow. Be a source of blood and energy and health and vitality. How many of us think about our bone marrow? It's the core of your physical being. It must be important. Anahat meditation directs the energy there. And then once it infuses your whole skeletal structure, I mean, literally your entire skeletal structure with light, it then relaxes everything. The final breath of the system is surrender and let go. Your body is erect. You're like hanging from the ceiling when you're meditating. What I mean there is like an anatomy class skeleton. All the bones are held up in the anatomy class skeleton, but now this final breath is everything else relaxes down. Relax your shoulders, relax your sternum, soften. And as you soften everything, the chi can then diffuse and do its own thing. So the last breath in the last stage of our life mastery course is a surrender. The ultimate teachings are surrender, let go, let God. We cannot hear it enough because none of us do it. Let go, let God, just surrender, let go, just let spirit move you. As you start really surrendering, I don't know if a better word, letting the Tao move you, your life will go to levels, your bliss, I can't even begin to tell you how good it gets. It's better. My life right now, the stuff I feel in meditation here in seclusion in Anahat Monastery, if I want to call it that, which I am calling it that now, is because you could say it's my home, but with all the land, eventually it's going to be bigger than that. So anyway, in this space where I meditate, it is absolutely blissful and delicious and sweet. And there's deer and there's, I could go on about all the animals. It is absolutely gorgeous. Why would that happen if you're just meditating? Because of law of attraction, right? I honestly, everything in my life is beautiful. And I keep working to infuse that into our work with the school and Anahat Education Group. Why would that happen? You're not doing anything really. You're just sitting in meditation because law of attraction. You emanate out so much light that law of attraction automatically brings that back to you, the law of giving and receiving. Once you've forgiven everything, then you are forgiving. And the law of giving and receiving says, if you want something, give it away. So give away light, love, bliss, beauty, joy, peace, and it all comes back to you. This meditation system will unfold that in you over years. But what an amazing investment. And then we can teach this to others and, it grows exponentially. So anyway, let me go to the chat pod. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope that's inspirational and I appreciate you. All right, so I'm trying not to use names too much here, just kind of keeping that sacred. So when I read your name, please know I'm like really looking at you and talking to each person who's here. So one of you said, me too, about the Christmas trees, cry over Christmas trees, all of that. I have to admit, even though I'm supposedly a guy, I was a very sensitive kid, and I still am very sensitive. It makes me incredibly intuitive as a hypnotherapist. I will say private sessions with me can be literally mind-blowing for my clients. I am moving them into enlightenment. It's like, so if you're doing interpersonal hypnotherapy with Anahat meditation and the life mastery course, you have 3 skill sets that will rock people's lives, like rock the world kind of like. So interpersonal hypnotherapy, you can help people in the most incredible ways. Anahat meditation, you're an incredible person now because your entire being has blossomed, and put that into life mastery work, your life will become amazing. People don't get the practical nature of this system. It seems too abstract. I've had students who are like, I'm not doing this. It's not practical. It's the most practical thing you can do to become whole and complete and give your life to God. There's no other way to really say that, or 100 other ways to say it. All right, one of you said, I think I felt the wings in a practice one morning, and at work that night, someone came up to me and said, there is this light around you. And for a moment, it looked like you were sent down from some divine place to show us how it's done. That's beautiful. Let me make note of your name again so I can start connecting all the wonderful people here with these words. It was a beautiful experience and reminded myself to try to keep ego out of it. That's what I said, right? When you're walking around like, hey, I'm an angel, just watch the ego trip. Spirit doesn't need you to do that. Just be, it's like humbly, all right, I'm an angel. My grandmother's always like, darling Matt, angel Matt. And he's like, darling angel. Like if you're an angel, just own it, but yeah, without the ego. So you said that we all are here to help each other back home. Right. All right, you got it. So thank you for sharing. So people will notice, yeah, there's something different about you, but yeah, there's no need for spiritual ego. You are that, and just that's it. There's no ego. It's just, all right, I'm love. I mean, why would you not be love? Of course you're love, right? And why would you not be an angel incarnate? Why would you not be able to interact with ascended masters on the astral plane? Like, of course you can. Right? Why can't you be tapped into superconscious mind all the time? So yeah, it's a friend of mine recently called this whole thing exclusive, meaning like I kind of use the word elite. Right? We're helping the able to become more able. If you think about finances, there's like the 1% you hear about more and more. That's not just billionaires. If your net worth is over right now about $700,000, you're in the top 1%. Doesn't mean you're buying yachts and flying private jets, but you're in the top 1%. To me, the spirituality and the prosperity go hand in hand. You absolutely can make extremely good money, that's a descending triangle, with being fully ascended, meaning fully enlightened, with a fully open heart, with those wings representing your being of service. And the way you become wealthy to really accumulate resources to be able to fulfill your mission. It's not money just for you. Who cares? The money is nothing. Like forget money. It's about service to others. If you don't have resources, meaning money and capital and credit and all those things, then you're not able to fully fulfill your mission. I have I work with a bunch of different people now as we're growing the vision. Certified financial planners becoming part of our team, and our chief business officer, who is the president and CEO of a major New York City hospital, is now part of the Anahat Education Group team too. So we're pulling together some really incredible people, and there is a vision and a mission here. And to me, what we're just talking about, that angelic presence means you're here with a mission and a purpose. It might have something to do with this work because you're here, but it could look totally like your own thing, and nobody might ever even know that there's a connection. You do your thing, but I hope these principles are making your thing so much better. Either way, we're sharing something really unique here, and kind of not exclusive, like it's not cast out to the whole world. It's just many are called, but few actually choose. Many are chosen, all are, no, Course in Miracles says all are chosen, but few choose. All are chosen, but few choose. All right, next. So again, I'm honoring you as I say this without reading your name. How far is Adirondack from Ithaca? I may have spelt that wrong. The Adirondacks are the mountains in upstate New York, just below Canada. So it's as far, so I'm not going to tell you the exact city right now until like there's buildings here. Where can I say? Near Lake Placid. You could Google Lake Placid. So it's that's like where they have the Olympics. That's where the big ski jumps are. They're super cool. You go up to the top of these ski jumps. This is the most beautiful place that I've been to on the planet. I mean, I've lived in the Himalayas. I've lived in Colorado. I've lived in Utah. I've lived in California. I lived in Washington State. I've lived in almost a lot around the country. I'm telling you, this is one of the most sublime, beautiful, magical places on the planet, with lakes and mountains and trees and wildlife. It's very safe. I moved up here largely from divine guidance, and it had a lot to do with climate change. This is one of the safest places on the planet. And Spirit is doing I see the retreat happening here of Anahat Monastery is literally a retreat to get away from wildfires and droughts and lack of water. And there's a lot of problems out there, right? So a lot of people are migrating north, and the Adirondacks are in a very safe place. Really, I've done my research. Trust me, I've done my research. A very safe place to be. So yeah, just Google Lake Placid. All right, so what have you said? I've been practicing this system for a couple of years now, and it's absolutely amazing. Words cannot truly express what is experienced. When it gets to the point to where the energy moves with the breath automatically, and you stop thinking about it and what comes next and just become, or the first time you truly experience your wings. Beautiful, thank you, and namaste. It's easy to say, all right, there's another meditation system, and other people find other meditation systems. But if you've been doing this for a while, there's nothing like this. So I'm honored to be able to know there's other people on the planet now who are catching on to what this feels like when you're doing it. And the only thing you can try to do is increase motivation for others, because I've literally talked about this for 100 hours. And you can just never say enough. So you just get them motivated and then get them started on meditation 1. But we have to be the role models to say, hey, it's worth it, because look what happened to my life. Now, just do what I did, right? And that's what teachers do. They take the student through the jungle, right? You don't have to carve the path through the jungle yourself, because someone already walked through. It's a lot easier to go through a forest when there's a trail already cut in front of you. So thank you for that. All right, and then what have you said? I'm trying to keep names out of it again, but so one student said, another, I hear you, yes. Shoot, I cried when Snoopy left home, smiles, I feel everything too. All right, real quick on that, and then I'll get to the chair for you. Show you how to sit. being really sensitive with this work for me means you're not taking on other people's stuff. I usually hear this about really sensitive people, and I've met people who I believe have gotten sick and died from taking on too much karma. Very, very empathic, intuitive people. We don't have to put up walls when we're Anahat meditators. There's so much light in your being, just emanate the light. So you don't have to have a wall, just emanate light. You'll remain very sensitive, incredibly intuitive. People have been with me like in trainings, and I remember this one line, they're like, Matthew is magic. I'm like, well, it's actually miracles, not magic. But what's happening in miracle mindedness? You're literally an angel on the planet and you are blessing other people. So yeah, remain sensitive. A teacher of mine said, it's not that you should be thick-skinned. You should be so thin-skinned that everything moves right through you, right? So yeah, thank you. But don't worry about being so sensitive that you can't handle what's going on in the world. Because, you'll see the atrocities. I mean, all the shootings now, like what? I grew up in the 80s. Oh, what's something going on? Wasn't, you guys know what's going on now. What can you do but just keep blessing? More light, more light, more light. Living from love, not from fear. I'm watching the economy in the US right now or around the world, like it's not, it's in a big dip in case you haven't noticed. Financially right now in the markets, if you're not coming from fear, you ride through the dip, you come out wealthier, right? The rich get richer. So we have the opportunity to use principles to be better and better and better moving forward and not to be afraid. So yeah, for me, I can be that sensitive, like incredibly sensitive, but not living from fear, only extending love with being very thin-skinned in the sense that everything moves right through you. Nothing hits your blocks. You don't have blocks anymore. You're a superconductor for divine energy, and the light just moves through you. The negativity can move right through you when you're helping someone else. All right, thank you. Next. How many certified teachers are there? Nobody yet. There's people very close at this stage, but here's the brief history in that. I started teaching this in 1997 for about 3 years with students in Massachusetts. None of them went on certification. It was a very small thing. It was like me and 4 students, and they were honestly older ladies. They were very interested in what I had to say. They knew even this young kid who's 25 years old has something profound to teach, but I was still really young and I was nowhere near ready to start a community or something. So I had a lot to learn, and I'm still learning. I taught this stuff again to a group in Delray Beach in the year 2000, but none of them became certified. They just learned a lot of the principles. And then I've infused the principles, obviously, into our hypnotherapy school, but I couldn't make money with Anahat meditation, so I did the school, and that's been, a blessing, of course. But nobody in this who's gone through the school is actually certified yet. So it's now been about, since 1996, 26 years, if I just did that math correctly, 26 years, and only now are we getting close to where when I did these classes in 2020, when COVID hit, I started the classes. That's all the videos that are on Online Monastery now. Those classes were the first time I actually started the certification process. And some of you who are here tonight, and some of you, I think, watching these videos, but not, not a whole lot, but that's how it works. Out of the whole funnel, there's going to be about 10 or 12 people now who are getting ready to be certified. Eventually it'd be like the first 12 who are certified, and that'll be, significant for me. So yeah, nobody's currently certified in this, and that's part of why Spirit motivated me the other day, about 2 weeks ago, start this support group. Like, let's start to make it happen. I kind of rally the troops, if you will. All right, so that's that answer. One of you said, don't protect yourself, shine brighter until there are no shadows left. Amen. Again, one of you said, moved by compassion, angel wing light does everything. You got it. Someone asked, do we need a guide/teacher along the way, or just follow the website videos and workbook? You can always reach out to me right now as a guide along the way. It's getting a bit much as we keep growing, but I'm getting really good at delegating. So it's harder to reach me now, and I charge a much higher hourly rate to try to preserve my time for our bigger vision, which I'm not talking about everything yet. Just loose lips sink ships, but I got huge projects underway, literally. And I'm doing my best to be there. So because I need teachers to support other students, I'll be happy to work, especially with like a core group that is really dedicated to certification. So I will be a main teacher now. Just email me or email the school to learn how to email me. And then I'll interact with you with every question you have about Anahat meditation and help to groom you through to the certification stage. And then we'll be happy through the it's really just do Anahat education group, but if you want a more official certification, we can do it through the institute or through the association. But basically, yeah, there'll be a certificate of a certified Anahat meditation teacher, and that person has to be qualified to teach levels 1, 2, and 3. It's very advanced stuff. So it takes at least 2 years, I believe, before you're going to feel like, all right, I get it. I really get how deep it is. So yeah, I think you do need a guide or teacher. It's just the videos say, I believe, everything you need to know. But even tonight, I'm sharing stuff that it's just so hard to talk about because it's all internal. It's this infinite world inside of yourself, right? And how can you verbalize that in time and space? So yeah, I believe you do need a teacher. If you have a question, you need it answered. And a teacher motivates, they support, they're devoted, and therefore the student's devoted back, right? Our, I'm leaving out names right now, but our current admissions director that a lot of you know for the Institute, we had the most beautiful heart-to-heart today about the dedication, the devotion, the mission, the understanding what we're doing here, that it's significant, it's meaningful. We're literally creating healers. And that's important because there's plumbers and there's all sorts of stuff, but we need more healers. So all right, anyway, yeah, I'm here to support as a teacher. I think the videos and the work was probably not enough. The plan is to create more certified Anahat meditation teachers that will go on to help to teach others and support others. Everything I'm doing is working to outlive me, for sure. All right, one of you said, I'm all about feeling and not taking on. Great way to explain. Thank you. Yes, moves through me. Awesome. Okay, let me go back to full camera and let's take just a sec. Let's shut that. Give me just a moment. I know we're still recording, so you might just jump ahead a few seconds. All right, share. All right. Yeah, okay. So there's a nice shaker chair. Zafu. Okay. This is Zafu. Put it on the chair. Sit on the front third or so. There. Feet are flat on the floor. Right. Don't cross your legs. I'm not sitting back, right? I'm just sitting upright, hands on the lap. So the spine is nice and straight. Relax your chest down. Slight curve in the low back, just like when you're sitting on the cushion on the floor. So it's really just the cushion on the floor. You're just on the chair now. On is off. Hands go on the lap, same way as before. Left hand usually on top. It really doesn't matter, and there's theories about why. But either hand on top is fine. The hands form a mudra here called the cosmic mudra. I've heard it called Maha Mudra, but there's also something else called Maha Mudra. So generally, it's the way they sit in Zen meditation. The hands are just like that. Try to keep your shoulders level. If you notice you got one of those going, try to get it nice and level. And just like you're hanging from above, like the anatomy class skeleton, where everything else just relaxes down. Right, that's it. You're just sitting. It's nowhere near as good. I never do. I don't think I've ever actually done this for as long as I'm sitting here right now like this. If you can get on a cushion, far better as far as what you're gonna feel with the energy, because here the legs are way down below. When I'm in lotus, the legs are all locked in. The locking in is really important, but you do the best you can. I'm more than willing to certify somebody if all they do is sit in a chair. Like someday I'm gonna be 70, 80 years old. This body still lives that long. If I'm not on the cushion, I'll still teach you from a chair. So it's okay. We all have limitations. If you're not flexible enough to cross up into lotus, you can still be enlightened. You can still be self-realized. You can still teach Anahat meditation. All right. Okay, from the side. All right. What have we said? Both genders should rest left hand in right. I'm fine with that. We can talk about it for a moment. What's the logic behind it? Often the right side is considered more yang, more masculine. The left is considered more yin or more feminine. The idea of hatha is sun, moon, hatha yoga, yin and yang. We all talked about a balance of both, but a balance of both is not really common, right? People are like really one or the other. I'm not saying what I am at all. I think words are just ridiculous. So when it comes to who are we? So like when you say gender, it's not that clear cut anymore, okay? Just do some gender studies. There's everything in the whole spectrum, right? So I couldn't even say, a man should sit this way. Like, what is a man, right? So it doesn't really matter is what it comes down to. When the hands are touching like this, you're linking the meridians, and that's really important. So just putting the hands together like that contains the energy in the arms, and the hands don't even matter much. One of the theories is the right being yang is the masculine, and that's like the fist. The left is the feminine, it's the yin energy. So if we put left on top of right, we're symbolizing yin overcomes yang in a man or a woman or somebody who doesn't identify as being a man or a woman, right? So yin overcomes yang because we all have yin and yang inside of us. So it doesn't matter what sexual organs you have or sexual preference or gender identity. None of that matters. It all matters in the sense of honoring all people, but it doesn't matter in meditation. You have yin and yang energy in your body, and you can choose. So let's talk about this a little bit. Once you tap into that, you'll realize everything is inside of you, right? You have masculine and feminine energy in there. It's not everybody's comfortable admitting that, but of course I have feminine energy in me. Like, of course, how could you not? It's just you have to be willing to own it that, oh, okay, there's masculine and feminine. Great. Now, when I need to be more masculine, fine. If I want to be more yin, more gentle, more soft, more yielding, fine. If I want to be strong and powerful and assertive, right? We have all those abilities. It doesn't mean anything beyond just you can be soft, you can be hard, you can be outgoing, you can be ingoing, you can be extroverted, you can be introverted, right? Extroverted is more yang, introverted is more yin. It doesn't mean anything except that those are just energies. The idea is to embrace all of who you are. So you have all of your resources available to you, right? When I'm doing hypnotherapy, like I'm working, I told you, with an elderly gentleman now, and he's a guy. I'm talking like a guy. And you're building rapport with people and you have certain energies. You can kind of merge with people, right? But if I'm with somebody who's like very soft and meditative and gentle, and we're talking about fairies and flowers, I can go there. Like, why not? It's an energy in the universe. I'm okay with that energy. And I'm okay if I have to be confident and assertive and not aggressive, but like to contact an attorney and say, hey, this is not okay. I'm asking my legal team to help me out here. As you grow in business, you start having more attorneys around you, just because, not because anything's wrong, but just because attorneys help you abide by the law as you grow, right? And so like, if I need to get assertive in that way, like, absolutely. But we can also be super soft and gentle, right? So, so there's some idea of the balance in Anahat. Now, as far as the left on top of the right, that's saying yin embraces yang. There's also the idea of the more dominant hand being underneath. So I'm a righty. If I put the left on top of the right, what I'm doing is embracing the more dominant side of me in a sense, right? So yin and yang, dominant, submissive. If we want to kind of tone down that dominant masculine energy, then just put your left hand on top, symbolizing, that's really what it is, just symbolizing, it's your intention that, hey, I was a bit aggressive today. I was getting a little bit too alpha, so I'm hoping to tone that down. Or maybe you do it the opposite way and explore that intention. I was a bit too passive today. I was letting people walk all over me. I was suffering from DMS, doormat syndrome. So I'll let the right embrace the left. Let me put some more intention into my right. None of it really means anything. It's all your intention. Here's the way to really understand this. In Chinese medicine, this is part of why I don't do Chinese medicine. You put a needle in, this is large intestine 4, Heigu. So we put a needle right there. Now, if we turn it to the right, we could say it tonifies, it puts more energy in the acupoint. If we turn it to the left, counterclockwise, it detonifies. I haven't thought this stuff in a while. It reduces the energy in the point. If there's excessive energy, we can reduce it. There's other ways to reduce energy or increase energy in an acupoint with needles. But the books say opposite things. One book says turning to the right increases. One book says turning to the right decreases. Well, is it increase or decrease? So I asked my teachers this because I'm like, well, one book says this, one book says this, but what answer do I give on the test, right? And they were like, in truth, in practice, it's your intention. And they said the really good acupuncturists don't even have to put needles in the body. They can just put their finger over the point or hover the needle above the point. I'm like, then what's going on here? The power of intention, directing life force energy. That's what's happening in acupuncture. So when you put your left and your right, it doesn't mean anything. That's Course in Miracles 101, right? What I see doesn't mean anything. What I see only has meaning if I give it meaning. So if you say, all right, I've been a bit too yang today, I'm going to embrace yin over yang. But you're intentionally doing that. It's not that your left hand magically does that, right? It's your intention. So to me, that's everything in this. Intentionality. When you breathe up to your head, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. But if you say, excuse me, breathing up to my head means I'm ascending up my chakra system into God consciousness, well, then that's what it means now. If breathing into wings means I'm an angel on earth, okay, that's what it means now. But none of it means anything. All right, thank you. I feel like that was a solid answer I just heard. Moving on. Okay, you're welcome. And then one of you said, sorry, I'll just do it the way my body will accept. Thank you for showing me the placements on the chair. I purposely set up my office in this new home for you to see the cushion here and the recliner here. And now there's a chair, but there's also a yoga mat. So there's multiple places on this house and property to do sadhana, spiritual practice, because it's a monastery. But this room, being my office, is also where I do spiritual practice in relationship to my life's work. So I'll meditate and then I'll work. I'll meditate, I'll work. I'll get on the recliner and I'll go into deep samadhi. I can do Anahat meditation on the recliner is the point I want to make. And I can do it lying on the yoga mat. I can do it on the massage table. So the massage table is a place with a biomat on the massage table that goes super deep. You can do it anywhere. You can do it walking. Meditation is meant to happen everywhere. However, that triangle position, the tetrahedron, when you're on a cushion, there's nothing like it. And honestly, sometimes it's too intense for me now. I'm like, I'm not even getting on old Sparky there. I used to start calling one of my meditation seats old Sparky because the energy was so intense, it felt like it was just burning me inside. I'm like, I can't take any more of this. The Shakti is that strong. So sometimes I don't even get on the cushion, but based on what I'm saying, I'm encouraging people, get on the cushion, because if you haven't tapped into that much life force energy yet, you're missing something profound. Okay. Next, masculine, feminine, perfect balance in each of us, normal balance, expanded sense of identity. Right on, beautiful, thank you. And that relates to everything. Like if you're doing therapy and you're helping somebody figure out, well, who are you? Embrace all of who you are, right? There's no words, there's no rules, just be what you are. You inhale, you exhale. You have a right side and a left side. Like, get used to it, right? You have sexual energy, you have spiritual energy, you have a heart. Like to me, Anahat just makes you embrace all of who you are. Anahat meditation, because it forces you to put your attention on every single part of your being. Think about how the meditations go. There's no stone left unturned. Every meridian, every chakra, sexual energy, spiritual energy, your body, your astral body, your etheric body, your mental body, your soul, everything is acknowledged in the system all the meridian systems in yoga and in Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, it's included in this system. So it has the wisdom of Tai Chi and Zen meditation and yogic practice and Tantra practice. To me, it is super complete. So why wouldn't it be complete with masculine and feminine? Thank you. All right. Intention is everything. Thank you. Someone said amazing power of intention, love directed. You got it. Wherever consciousness goes, energy will follow, and then blood will follow that. In acupuncture, you can literally remove a hand by putting an acupuncture needles to block the flow of the chi into the hand. You have to be super advanced to do this, and I haven't even seen it done, but it's true. They've been able to stop the blood and energy flow to a hand and amputate it with no pain and no bleeding by having the chi stopped from moving through. There's lots of stuff now, of course, in Chinese medicine and Qigong healing that shows the power of this. The point about Anahat meditation, though, is you are doing Tai Chi and Qigong every time you do Anahat meditation. You are moving energy through your meridian systems the way we do in Tai Chi. That's revolutionary to me. I knew how to do Tai Chi through movement, but doing it on the cushion, that only happens from my experience in Anahat meditation. And it's the intention that's directing the energy where you want it to go, but the system forces you to do it in a system, in a systematic way that ensures balance. But you can just sit down and do meditation 10. You don't have to always start at meditation 1, but I do encourage that you keep working through the system. You pretty much always start at meditation 1, go through level 1, then start again at level 2, go through all 12 meditations. And then you'll start working with level 3. Level 3, in summary, and we'll start to wrap it up soon, deals with sexual energy, samadhi, and out-of-body experiences. You need to have spent some time with level 2 for sure, and then level 3, sacred geometry across the board, but level 3, samadhi, out-of-body experiences, and you heard it already, sexual energy practices. Sexual energy practices, out-of-body experiences. Anyway, my brain's getting jumbled now. So you need to do level 3 as well. And then once you've been through all of that and you really feel like, I get this, like you get in the sexual energy practices of this, you're working at first with just unexcited sexual energy in level 1. Level 2, we still work with the unexcited energy, but in level 3, we're actually learning to work with stimulated sexual energy. That's requiring a high level of certification, because I'm not just gonna say, yeah, go teach this, you know, and tell everybody about how to, so I'm like hesitant to even talk about it. We have to be really careful with what we say when it comes down to sexual energy. So you don't want to just be telling people, yeah, go and meditate and stimulate yourself sexually. Like that, it's not what it's all about. But it's not that it's not what it's all about, right? Meditation should incorporate every aspect of your being. So it's learning to integrate the spirituality and the sexuality in very professional and sacred ways within yourself, essentially, right? So that you are your own source of bliss and joy. And then you teach that to others in appropriate ways. All right, do you have to use the cushion on the chair? No, you really don't. But again, I never meditate like that. I just know at Zen Mountain Monastery where I lived and other Zen centers where I've spent a lot of time, the teaching is to sit on the cushion, on the zafu, not in a chair. But that's only because it's beneficial. But if you can't do it or don't want to do it, you could just sit on a straight back chair. So yeah, I know you want to do it just right, and that's awesome. I was too rigid in the past. I'll tell you guys a quick story since I appreciate that we're getting to do this. When I first opened Anahat Meditation Center in Massachusetts, I was really rigid. I've been called a meditation Nazi at Kripalu Yoga Ashram. I'm just such a big believer in meditation, and I was seeing yogis weren't doing it. So this woman came in and she said, you know, I have leg issues. I need to prop my knees up on the cushion. Can I do that? And I actually, at 25 years old, told her no. I don't really regret that, but I would say, like, I kind of regret that. That I told someone they couldn't meditate at Anahat Meditation Center because they couldn't get their knees in the ground. I was seeing like this very elite type of meditator, and that's just not fair. That was an immature vision I had of what it means to be a meditator, because nobody's 25 for the rest of their life, right? People get injured, and I broke my wrist paragliding. You know, I've got a titanium plate in there now to prove it. And what if, you know, I like really broke my, so I don't really paraglide much anymore because it's super dangerous. And I have a mission. But what if you break your leg? Then you can't sit on the cushion anymore. Does that mean you can't meditate? Of course not. And I'd be using the straight back chair. So do the best you can with your body. I'm nowhere near as immature in understanding this to try to make it exclusive in the sense that you can't do it. As long as you can sit still with a straight spine, even if you can't sit still with a straight spine, you can still do this. But to really get the benefit, you want to be in one of those 5 acceptable positions that I talked about in lesson 1. All right. Never mind, you already answered that. Okay. When I'm doing my meditation on the cushion, my knees hurt. Am I doing something wrong? Okay, thanks for asking. Because you don't want to hurt yourself. I was meditating when I lived at Kripalu Yoga Ashram I couldn't sleep in the building, so I was living in the woods. And I was literally about 12 hours a day meditating. That's when the Anahat Meditation System came to me. Literally 12 hours a day of meditation. I was starting to make friends, acquaintances with a chiropractor, and actually I was getting like some sessions from him. And he heard about how much meditation I was doing. He goes, I don't know if that's safe for your body. So he actually is a chiropractor who knows the skeletal muscular system inside and out. He looked at my body, he like kind of dissected, like with his hands, like figuring out everything about my body in meditation. He said, your spine, I'm not saying it is now, I'm just saying in that moment, he said, you have perfect posture. When you sit in this position, your spine is the exact anatomical perfection. So, and I actually, and I don't know, my exact skeletal structure, whatnot, but as a kid, I was diagnosed with scoliosis. I don't feel like I have that anymore. I have an interesting shaped torso. But anyway, it's like, this does align your spine when you're sitting. So that's the spine. It's very safe to sit that way. Now the knees. When you're doing lotus, you are your knees only go this way. So when you turn and you're sitting, so you get your feet on your knees on the ground on that cushion, if your hip flexors open enough and your knee can rotate properly where it can still bend right, then great. But realize your knee doesn't bend laterally, if that's the way to say it. It only goes forward and back. So be sure you're flexible enough. If you're forcing yourself into that position, you could potentially damage the meniscus cartilage. It's not my field to go that much into the anatomy, but I can say I don't know of any single documented case of harm that's come from somebody sitting in meditation. And I've lived in monasteries and ashrams where people sit that way. But as you get older, you tend to do it less. At Zen Mountain Monastery, the abbot Jain Daido Lori, we didn't see him a lot in the Zendo much. He was like at home, and I'm more on the recliner these days as I'm getting closer to 50. So pain is an indicator that something is wrong. You can push for like a minute or maybe a little more depending on your age of discomfort. In A Course in Miracles, it says, how long should you meditate? You can apply this teaching to how long you're sitting on that cushion. Sit on the cushion until you start getting uncomfortable, until you're like, I think I want to stop. Sit for another minute more, and then you're done. Don't push into severe discomfort because you're following a clock or something, because you'll end up hurting yourself. But more importantly, well, not more important than that, but very important as well, is grab that thought. So it's very important to, I think I'm losing that train of thought. So that was interesting, but I kind of go with the flow. All right, so yeah, that's gone. All right, but anyway, yeah, don't hurt. Oh, got it. So you don't want to hurt yourself physically, but you also don't want to fight with yourself mentally. So if you're on the cushion and you're like, I hate myself, I'm not good enough, I need to push harder, like stop that, right? So push a little bit more and then just stop for that sitting period. And then you should never hurt yourself because you only got a little bit of discomfort. You do that with strength training, right? You're working out and you're going to push till that point of muscle failure, but not more than that, right? But even more accurate here is when you're doing yoga, you'll hold a pose, like you can be in cobra pose, and you're holding cobra as long as you can. And the moment you feel like you want to stop, take one more breath, push just past your limit. Really, as somebody who's getting liberated, you always want to push a little bit past your limits, or you're always stuck in your limits, right? So find ways to push your limits, right? I'm a paraglider. I literally run off of mountains. That took a lot of courage to get past those limits about flying with a piece of cloth above your head. Right? So, it's cloth and string and you're running off a mountain. So I do push my limits for sure, and I do take measurable risk. But with meditation, as your body's getting older, it's just not worth, causing knee damage. But again, I don't know if anybody who's had knee damage, maybe because the teaching is push until you get uncomfortable, take another breath, maybe another minute, and then you're done. Okay. Thank you. That's good. I appreciate that. So if you're teaching others, that you're not pushing them too hard. So yeah, pain indicates probably best to stop. Your leg might fall asleep. It can be like really aching. You're like, God, I can't wait till this is done. But that doesn't feel like it's doing physical damage. If your knees literally hurt, then you should be careful, and you should tell your students to be careful if you're going to start teaching this. But generally, the 35 minutes that you might be in the cushion on an average good, really sitting period, yeah, your front leg might fall asleep on the cushion, but then the circulation comes back, and that's not a problem. The circulation issues, the tweaking of your joints, you got to be careful of that. All right, great. Thank you so much for your openness and flexibility. Smiles. I appreciate you. Wishing you a great night. I need to dash another meeting. Okay, great. Thank you. Again, not saying names, but honoring each person who's here. My legs start out stiff, but when I do the descent into Hara, they become relaxed. Okay, great. Yeah. You do loosen up the more you do it. In India, you'll see people just sitting that way because it's actually a good way to sit, but because they just naturally sit that way. Yeah, you'll see like old yogis, they're like 67, sorry for the word old there, not to defend anybody, but 60, 70, 80 years old are still sitting in meditation. That's just how they sit. What I started doing in my early 20s when I was getting into meditation is I would sit, instead of at the dining room table, I'd sit at the coffee table on the floor in lotus. I was studying, my college studies and whatnot, where a lot of it was spent sitting in lotus, just reading a book, so I could get my legs used to it. If you practice sitting that way a lot, then when you get on the cushion, it's just not such a big deal anymore. So that's another meditation tip, is sit that way other times, and absolutely do yoga if you want to be a good on the cushion meditator. The more flexible your body is, the stronger your body is, the more energy your body has, the longer you can stay on the cushion. And honestly, like hours on a meditation cushion is a worthwhile phenomena. Once I get to start leading retreats, hopefully up here, you guys, of course, with all guys and girls, you'd be all more than welcome to come visit and do a retreat here and start to give you a sense, perhaps, or I can encourage this on these classes, to do a retreat with a schedule. And I could, if you ever want to email me about how do I do like a 1-week retreat, I can show you how to structure your day so you could be in solitude, no cell phone, just like you're basically meditating all day long. But how do you do that, right? How do you spend like 3 or 4 days in solitude meditating without having to take naps? And like how do you actually sit on the cushion and do it? You're not just sitting for the full 12 hours, but you want to learn how to do spiritual practice. And not everybody understands how to really do sadhana. So feel free to ask if you want to learn more about going into retreat, because I am literally seeing this as a monastic level of meditating. And if you go to a monastery, if you've never been, if that's just like a fancy word, like I'm serious about, when you live in a monastery, spiritual practice is happening all the time. It's like being in the military, right? Like military and monastery are not that much different, except they're very different. But the discipline in both is probably about the same. I mean, Zen monks push themselves big time. Why? Why would you spend that many hours in the cushion? Just keep growing into it every day. Just push a little bit more. Just push your limit a little bit more. It'll start feeling so good and the results will be so good. You'll keep doing it because you want to, not because you have to. Okay. But yeah, the more you sit, things do start to loosen up. All right, great. And thank you. Okay. So again, we didn't say names, so I hope that makes this more evergreen. I appreciate everybody who's been here. I appreciate everybody who's watching this recording. We'll do 2 more of these classes in June. As long as you're still listening and the energy is flowing, feel free to email questions if you'd like to have me answer them in future classes, and definitely feel free to interact. If this group ever wants to meet in a different meeting room where you could actually show me you, if you want to use video and microphone, I can always let you do that during these classes. And we could always just set up the whole room where everybody's sitting together if everybody wants. So member driven, community driven. Let me know how we could do this better. And thank you for being part of this. I sincerely thank you. All right, retreat instruction, please. Yes. Okay, yeah, just shoot me an email. Give me a sense of like how many days and what you want to do, and I'll work to help to show you the structure for that. Awesome. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.